Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to all my blessed beloveds out there in video land. You're watching you're watching Living and Thriving with Rusty, and I'm Rusty, and I'm about 80 some odd people deep into interviewing, and I'm starting to need some lemon and honey for sure. It's been a blast this season to introduce people from all over the world that are inspirational, motivational, and simply beautiful. So Russell Dynasty is here, and he's going to share with us who he is, what he does, and why he does what he does. And I'm kind of curious because he looks very groovy, laid back, like I'm just going to pop out some blues.
Girl, you seeing it, girl.
Vibe,
you
man. You got the vibe.
You seeing it, girl. Let me make sure my stuff is all right. You can see me, everyth's fine, right?
You look fine. You got a little booger right there. I'm just kidding.
Oh, you better stop. All right, well, first, let me correct. My company's name is Russell Dynasty. My name is Russell Vann.
Yeah, but I renamed you. I like Russell Dynasty.
Oh,
it gives you like this,
okay. Ooh, you know what? Maybe you're saying something.
Yeah,
maybe
it's a little flashy.
Something. I like it. I like it. Well, what I do, I live, I love, I laugh. I try to bring that to other people's lives. I try to take care of my family. I try to thank God every day for just being alive and all the blessings that he's given me. I'm an author of 3 books. I'm in the process of writing my 4th book. And it's talking about life and experiences and how we're all intertwined and all connected.
Amen to that. So, do you have your books right there?
Yes.
Good answer.
My first one is called Ghetto Bastard. Now, you know that already, right? Okay, now that's the first one.
Yeah, that's the one I want to dish on because what a title.
You know what? I'm going to send this one to you for free. You're going to hook up with the big forehead that was in the screen before.
I love the forehead.
And we're going to hook up. We're going to send you one. I'm going to sign it. We're going to send it to you for free. It's on Amazon. Hit the bestseller. All right. Now, this one, it starts it out. It just, what this is, and I don't want to sound too, it's a crossover. I want it to be a crossover because this is the type of book that people that are not of color, people of not of color, can ask and look inside that world without offending people and see how we think. Because the reason I named this book what I named it, I'm going to put it down for now because I'm going to talk to you and communicate. But you see that?
I didn't even get your exercise in.
Oh, that's right. Oh, that's okay. But it's I was raised by my great grandmother. My grandfather's mother raised me. So right there, that's gonna tell you a story in itself that you're being raised by your great grandmother. I was raised in the Mott Haven section of the South Bronx. I don't know if you're familiar with that, if you've ever heard of that, but it's a very drug-infested, poverty-ridden area right across the bridge from Harlem. I know you heard of Harlem. Everybody has heard from Harlem. So it's just like a little mini Harlem annex, should we say. And my, of course, teenage, unwed parents, and then I just got thrown down the line because my mother was also a product of that. So her mother was relatively young when I was born. And so she was like, yeah, you know, they're getting young. I ain't giving up my life for no kid.
I'm going to pause you for a second. So you and I have actually a lot in common.
Woo!
So if your sweetie there wants to get on the horn and pick another date, because we're going to continue this conversation and I'll explain why later. But we have a lot more in common than I think you think.
Oh, go ahead.
So the juice is there, honey. The juice is there. But let's look at your second book and your third book, and then we're going to go back and really focus on the Ghetto book, because that's going to be a 2-part series in itself. You and I have a lot to talk about.
Oh, good. Well, of course, this is book 2, Ghetto Bastard, book 2. All right. And you notice it has pictures of a lot of children around the world. And because after you read book one, then you're going to understand that there's a lot more ghetto bastards than people want to say. When you're rich, people like to glamorize it and say, "Oh, love child," but when you're poor, you know, you're just that little bastard that lives in the trailer park, or that ghetto bastard that lives in the projects.
Oh, trust me.
Right. So this is to illustrate that ghetto bastard comes in all colors, nationalities, and all countries, and things like that. So, and it partakes and just goes to the story and shows, part two shows the lessons learned from one and growth and development, because the Ghetto Bastard series is also a love story.
Ooh, twists and
See,
turns. I love it.
And then we go to 3. Now, see, I can't give you too much on 3 because 3 is called Life After Death.
That one's a little ominous. That's a scary cover. So.
But you see how it's darkness to light.
Yes, sir.
All right. So, and I'm in the process of writing 4, which is called Ghetto Bastard, The American Dream. Ooh. So it brings it all circle. So it starts from poverty-ridden to work to the American dream. And then people will say, well, what is the American dream? Well, depends on who you are. But you're going to have to read the book to find out what mine is.
No way. Shut up. So Russell, let's go back to Ghetto Bastard 1. Now, yes. From a poor white trash Southern project baby, I take it offensively, in a way.
No.
I do.
No.
But because I grew up in a very similar circumstance, obviously the difference is I probably got away with a lot more than you did, just based on skin color. I grew up in the South, and that's a big deal back when I was growing up. But the premise is still the same. We were poor, like filthy dirt poor, literally dirt poor, living in the projects, going from place to place, avoiding getting shot at, which had happened, you know, robberies, B&Es, domestic violence, like nothing, crazy domestic violence, which you, I'm sure, could share. The drug abuse, the needing to cope on any and every level that caused conflict, right? Mm-hmm. The interesting piece is I think if we could do a fundraiser, everybody that's watching, we need to send this series of books to those people who make the policies that keep these neighborhoods intact, meaning poor people for centuries have been pushed into groups to stay poor. And every time you try to get out of that poverty, something from that group pulls you back in. And it's very difficult to get out and to actually live whatever dream it is that you want to live. That's my side speech. Russell, how did you personally, as Russell, get out of that life? Because it's painful, it's hurtful, and hard.
I'm gonna just go back a little bit what you said, and then we're gonna. With me, as far as what color is concerned, I don't think it was any different because, and now I don't know because I haven't walked in the shoes of a non-white person. So I can't say. All I can hear is the propaganda and the things, the narratives that are kind of trying to be spread. But what I understand, I was raised by a woman who had 2 children by a white man in like 1920, when it really wasn't popular.
Yeah, no kidding.
She had to raise them, and her children were very light-skinned, and she was very dark-skinned. So she didn't raise me to have any kind of bias or animosity towards, like, sometimes people in the ghetto and black are raised, like, you know, white people assessing and blaming it, you know, in the poor ghettos, they want to blame it on black, in black ghettos, they want to blame it on white. But in reality, it's not a color issue, it's a class issue.
That's exactly what I wanted you to say. Are you telepathic? Like we're jiving on that.
It's real.
It's real.
It's like it is.
It's so real. It's Keep going.
It's a class issue, and what happens is they'll use racism to divide us, because as long as we're arguing against each other and saying they're getting more and they're getting more and they're doing this and they're doing that, the people that are really getting are sitting there laughing at us, because as long as we fight each other, we're not united. You know, I don't say, but it's in the book, Ghetto Bastard. Okay. I worked for a millionaire one time. I was basically his guy Friday. And I saw how the real of a half lived. The man's house he lived in cost $5 million. It was on the Long Island Sound. He owned $1 million boat. That was one of the boats in one of the houses. And I was just his little driver, his little bodyguard, or whatever he wanted to call me. And I was seeing how, wow, people live differently. And there were some white people. There were some black people. There were some Hispanic people. There were some Asian people around, because they were all doing business with him. But what I also noticed was they all just they were all polite and respectful to me, but they all just had that little, I'm better than you, air about them when they spoke with me. So I understand.
So to be very honest with you, Russell, maybe it's just because I'm a good old girl who, worked my way up. All I wanted to do was hug you. I don't think I'm better than you. I just wanted to give you a big old hug, maybe shine your forehead.
Who, me? Oh, is it shiny? No.
Gotta get a little powder puff. Poof, poof. So that's interesting, though. On a serious note, it's interesting that you were able to see a different side of life. And even in that, there was an air of challenging. I would say challenging you, challenging your inner self, challenging your self-respect, challenging how you perceive yourself. Because I think when you get to a place where you're confident, people like that don't matter. But when you're just getting to that place of confidence, you kind of feel it, like it hurts.
Is that, oh yeah, did it hurt me? Growing up, and the abuse that I had suffered growing up, you learn to brush a lot of things off. Certain things are very minor. Somewhat, I would illustrate it by saying how the abusee just gets accustomed and used to the abuser, that even sometimes they become affectionate, like, they hug them and all that, just because they're used to that, and that's all they know, It
didn't burn your ass when people were like, I'm better than you? Like, that didn't burn your ass a little bit in the beginning?
But people can't tell you or make you feel that they're better than you, because I'm the type of person, I'm going to learn from you. Right. And if I want to be where you at, I'm going to learn what you had to do and what you have, what you have, who what the content, and what it takes to be you. Maybe I don't want to be you. You know what I mean? Sometimes money and all of those different things, and it's because what I do, I have a habit right now. I look at a lot of stuff about centennials speaking and stuff on YouTube, and about centennial advice, and they're talking because they know what's going on. They're centennials. They didn't live their life, and they're cognitive. They're they're pretty much healthy. They've lived life. They've raised children. They've done all of the things that I haven't done yet. I've raised children. I thank God, but I'm only 53. I got life to live, And the one thing they say, when people say, well, what's the most important thing? What you want in life? I said, man, I want to be healthy.
Ooh.
Be healthy. I want the money. Forget the money. Forget all of this. Forget all of that stuff. I want to be healthy. You say, because the money means nothing if you're sick and laying up in the bed and you can't do nothing with it. You know what I mean? So first and foremost, I look at it and I be like, I want to be healthy. That's all that. And if you read the book, you'll understand why I Ghetto Bastard. The first one. I was just worried about being healthy, raising my family, learning from these people. I saw this lifestyle that they were leading, and I didn't want anyone to give me anything. I really was thinking, hey, maybe they'll bring me into the fold and teach me how to make money and, and allow me the opportunities, because that's usually a lot of times how wealthy people obtain their wealth is through connections, family connections, or it's handed down, and opportunities that are afforded them by family, friends, and different things like that. So I was hoping since I was that
nepotistic internship.
Yes. So I was hoping that, my servitude in a sense and my loyalty, they would say, hey, blah, blah, blah. But that didn't work out. You'll find that out in book 1, too.
I love you, Russell. Now, are you two still in New York?
No. We're in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania.
Oh, you're in one of my favorite cities. You know, I would love to move to Pennsylvania for so many reasons, but you guys get taxed to death.
Oh, tell me about it.
Lord have mercy. How do you even afford meat?
And if you don't pay it, they'll
come knocking.
Yes, but when I moved here originally, it was actually to allow my wife to stay at home with the children. She had just had the baby, and because of my past experiences and life itself and just knowing people, I didn't want anyone taking care of my child before my child was able to talk. So
do we have a lot in common, my friend?
Tell me something, and I'm gonna come and handle it. But
truth.
So moving down here, and we moved to a small town, very small, what they call Mayberry type of town called Sunbury, Pennsylvania. Very small. One of them, wasn't one street light. It was maybe 3, in the whole town, and it allowed me to work and allowed her to stay home. It was tight. It was a struggle, but it served the purpose.
So that brings me to a really interesting question, because I just feel like you're a brother from another mother.
Thank you.
I think through experience, especially when you have kind of a harder obstacle-filled experience, which is a nice way to put it, your values change. So when I was young, I was scrappy because I grew up in an abusive life and neighborhood and drugs and the whole thing. And my defense mechanism was scrappy. I'd beat anybody's ass. No problem, hands down. And when I got older and started to want the family life, I made bad choices in that trip, but I have a beautiful daughter who I'm proud of. I too never had a babysitter. Mm-hmm. No, thank you. And probably for the same reasons that you aren't interested. But I think our values are a lot different. We've had a hard road, so we are more cynical about our choices, our life choices.
Well, with me, and it might have been a good thing, it may have been a bad thing. You get one chance to screw up with me.
Right.
I'll give you the shirt off my back. You can have, whatever you need. I'll be your best friend. You never imagined you couldn't ask God for a better friend than me. But you crossed me one time, I never forget it, because my whole thing, because of my upbringing, because of my life, everything is based on trust. It's not based on money, influence. It's about trust. I have to be able to trust you because you can trust me. If I say something, I'm going to do it. If I can't, I can't. But you can trust me. And if I know you have that same kind of trust that I have in you, there's nothing I won't do about you. But you cross me once, that's it. Now, because we say about how the past and how everything has brought this up, that does make me unforgiving, unfortunately, because sometimes people do make mistakes. Mm-hmm. But I'm just the type of person right now in my life and what's going on and what has happened in my life. I can't allow, if I allowed you to make, what's the old adage, the first time you screw me over, shame on you. The second time, I'm the fool. You know what I mean? Yeah. Do it again. So, that could be a double-edged sword with me, because maybe forgiving somebody might lead to something better, but then again, it could screw me over again, and I feel like an idiot. But I think that's how life so far. Now, I'm still young. Things could happen. Anything could happen. I'm distrusting of outsiders, you know, and the ones that I do, a lot of times I'll give people a little rope to hang themselves. You know, give them an outlet. I said, let me see if this person is going to take advantage of me. And whatever I give them or whatever I do, I'm willing to take that loss, because that minor loss is nothing compared to the bigger loss if I really let them in and really get them closer. You see, that's that ghetto bastard training. That's that.
It's hardcore street training. I mean, I told my daughter a long time ago, I said, I will move the mountains for you. I will give you everything that I never had, plus lie to me once.
Right.
Lie to me once.
But now that's your daughter. So what you going to do is you going to forgive her, but you going to keep a little cord, a little space in the back of your mind saying, now, you lying to me once. You're only gonna go but so far. You know what I mean? You might give that.
I might do that, but she just turned 16, so she just needs to know it's once.
That's right. That's right. You know, don't tell them to, because they'll take that to the limit and say, "But you can give me one more, Mom, please."
Yeah, nope. No, right. She knows. She knows me. I'm hard enough where, you know, I've had to climb my way out of a few ditches. We've been homeless. Her father is abusive, as you can imagine. She knows me well enough.
Now, you see what's so phenomenal is that, you know, we're talking about domestic abuse and we're talking about homelessness, and here we are of different color, you know, both of us.
Yep.
And everything you're talking about is in my book.
I know, and that's why I love you. That's why we're going to do this a couple of times, because
what's so great is what I say about when I speak on a couple of shows like this, you know, with different people, and I say that what people don't understand is Ghetto Bastard, you know, we just been stereotypically, we'll look at the title and be like, oh, one of those type of books.
Yeah.
Okay, automatically. But everybody I've spoken to, most of my sales when I go on tour have been people, Caucasian. And they sit down and we talk, and they start asking me questions, and I'm like, you know what? We have a lot more in common than you think we have.
Well, it's such a funny propaganda spin to keep that whole division going, and it's very profitable for certain people to have that division going. I was actually waitressing not too long ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, at a kind of a bougie restaurant. And this very old school Southern sports car, 70-plus-year-old something, older man, was sharing with his partner that was there, male golfing buddy or whatever, about how if it wasn't for all those Black women, we wouldn't have a welfare system. Mm. So, wrong waitress. I write books about this stuff. And I said, where did you get that information? That's really interesting, because statistically, it's 78% are Caucasian women that are on welfare. So where did you read that statistic? That's really interesting. His friend was laughing, like, and he got puffy with me. He's like, well, you know, if they keep having babies. And I was like, but the statistics aren't there to the racism that you're sharing. I'm confused. Can you explain? And he couldn't explain, of course, because he was just shooting off at the mouth, thinking that he was, you know, showing some form of bravado to his golfing partner. But I think even more so, our education system dumbs people down to a point where we don't even teach history appropriately, and we don't teach compassion at all. So people can shoot off at the mouth like that, thinking that they're actually talking facts, when you and I both know that's not a fact. And we're trained well enough to know, living the way we grew up, to find out our facts before we shoot off at the mouth, because when I was growing up, that's how you got shot.
What I've learned is that one is just what we spoke of earlier, division, to keep us dumb, keep us dumbed down, because that person probably actually believed that. And I'm gonna tell you why I believe that. I used to teach in the South Bronx, these at-risk teens, kids that got thrown out of school and all of that stuff. And I was a part of the program and then graduated, and they ended up hiring me because I was successful at it and good at it and stuff was the role model, blah, blah, with it. And we used to have these discussions about white people, of course, you know, conversations that white people have when black people ain't around and white people have when white people ain't around. This conversation we have. And these kids actually believe that there were more black people in the United States than there were white people. And they actually believed that there were more black people on welfare than there were white people, because their own little world was the South Bronx. That's what they judged the world on. So they actually believed that. So I would also suggest that maybe a lot of people who aren't from those urban areas, non-minority people, may believe that also, because they only know what they're fed. They're not like us, people who read a book and seek knowledge and seek understanding. They only listen to what people are saying. And if you're only around negative people and you're getting negative information, the only thing, they become like computers, crap in, crap out.
And I think that's intentional. I think that so I did a TV interview not too long ago in Miami, a very, very conservative TV program, and one of those that likes to stir stuff up, and not in a meaningful, helpful way, but in a more divisive way. And the whole reason why he had me travel all the way out to Miami to do this interview was to shame me for my philosophy. And I knew what I was going into, but I'm from those streets. I can take on a good fight, right? I'm still scrappy. And I looked at him and I said, you know, the largest thing that I want to do when I become president of the United States, and of course his jaw dropped because not only am I a woman, but I'm ghetto. I said, I want to tear down the projects and the poor neighborhoods. I want to rip them to shreds. I want to burn them. I want to get rid of them. There is no purpose to having them. Of course, that riled his feathers, and he asked me why. Why would I want to do such a thing? He doesn't want people like that in his neighborhood. Exactly like that, too. And I looked at him very cold, and I said, well, here's the thing. When you're a little kid coming off a school bus and all you see is somebody being dragged down the street because he's drunk and she's sleeping with the neighbor, you see garbage everywhere, you see that cops are trying to hit on teenage girls in the neighborhood, you see these two over here selling drugs to 12-year-old kids, and you see those kids over there wearing like 3-day-old clothes, and there's no happiness. There's no excitement. There's no inspiration. Yeah, maybe some of them get to go to church, but most of them are so caught up in the sadness of their environment that it's very difficult to see a brighter future. And if these kids can actually start getting off a bus and there's a vet tech over there and maybe somebody who's a manager at Home Depot or something like that, you know, then there's some inspiration. Then there's a reason to look past your circumstance. You have seeds that are planted that you don't even realize are planted, and you can aspire to be something more than where you are circumstantially. He cut the show short and sent me home.
That's how they do it. Cut you off, don't get your information out, and you know.
I don't even think he aired it, to be honest.
Wow.
Yeah. It's just too controversial. I mean, my goodness, you would have all of these people who are different than me in my neighborhood. I can't have that. How bizarre of a thought. I mean, even on a basic human level, if you look outside, look at all of the variety that God has left us. We have all kinds of choices and colors and flavors and textures. Why are humans not allowed to be that too?
I think that, you know, outside of superficial, maybe we want to be honest. We said it before, as long as we're divided, then that gives people power. The only thing, and people always say that they're going to do this, they're going to do that, blah, 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 blah. You know, everybody likes to talk. But the honest answer is everything begins with you as the individual, your choice. Because what's wrong with this country right now, and I know everybody has an opinion about what's wrong with this country. So my opinion is going to be like a butthole. Everybody has one, but we're talking to me right now, so I'm just going to say what it is. Everybody needs to allow everyone to be who they are. I don't care what you are, okay? Because I want to be who I want to be, and I don't want you to tell me how to think, who to love, what to love, how to dress, what I want to do. All I want you to do, that I'm going to demand from you, is that you respect me. And then I'm going to respect you. And then we're going to be all right. Disrespect me, then we're going to go in the opposite direction. But I'm going to allow you to be who you want to be, because I don't know what's in your heart. You understand? I don't know what kind of person you are. You can fit all of the so-called social norms and check that box, and inside be an asshole. Excuse me, I'm sorry.
I do have my days of being an asshole, though. I will confess.
I'm sorry. I didn't curse like that. I apologize.
That's all right.
You know,
I bring it on the best of people.
You know, so we have to always judge, not judge people, but ourselves, be in control of this, okay? We never know what's going on in people's lives. So we have to always understand and look, and if they're negative, stay away from them. If they're positive, hey, try to draw from them and try to give them some of our positivity. But don't give it to no negativity. Don't give positive into negative, and don't give them negative and positive.
Russell, like everything else in this world, our time's up. Can you believe that?
We got to do this again.
So fast.
We got now. You know it was good because it did fly.
Well, and the worst part about it, and I have to be very transparent with you, if you've ever seen any of my other shows, I talked more in this show than I normally do. So I apologize to you, but I know you're coming back on, so I'll make up for it, I promise.
That's all it means. Don't forget 1, 2, and 3. All right?
You're ridiculous. Ridiculous.
You know, I'm going to be going more, we're doing a little more interviews, getting out there. So anytime, you know, just contact us, we'll contact you. And
well, I'm going to let you know now that I will be in Harrisburg in about a week.
Oh, okay.
Save your book and save me some coffee, and let's make a date and actually meet, because I think collaborating is fun, and I think that you're just the right energy, right conversation, and that way I get a hug. Haha. It's all about me.
Sounds good.
So Russell, where do we find more information about you? This is part 1.
GhettoBastard.com. That'll give you everywhere you want to go. Now we also have Russell Dynasty LLC.com. That's my company, and that'll speak about the books. But GhettoBastard.com, it'll lead you to all of the other links, the Instagram, the web pages, and the Facebook. Amazon, you can buy the book. Amazon.com, is that correct? Okay, Amazon. It's a bestseller. Russell Vann. 2 S's, 2 L's, VANN.
All right, Lovey. So give us a little peek as to what Russell Dynasty is versus the books.
Russell Dynasty is publishing the books, but it wants to publish books about the minority community that doesn't fit the narrative that the media is selling. It wants to speak about the individuals. It's not talking about black people with the gang banging and shooting up and the dope and all that stuff, making us as a monolithic people. It shows the multifacetedness of the community itself.
Now, are you specifically, specific ethnicity? I can't even say the word.
Am I just talking about black people? Is that what you're saying? No, what am I saying? Ghetto Bastard is old people. But this is talking about me. This is my memoir.
No. I have a lot of people that are writing books, so I can send them your way if you're open to anybody, or do you have
all inclusive? This is
okay, make sure your honey girl sends me that information again, because I know she's the one that coordinated all this, because she's a guy.
Because it's just like we were communicating. When you read this book, you're gonna go,
I'm gonna love it. I know I am. I already feel it.
Well, I'm not gonna spoil it for you because you're gonna get this one. This is yours for free. I'm gonna get that. That's how we gonna. Okay. All right. We get ready to wrap it up. I don't want to keep you over. All right.
We're definitely over already, but that's okay. You're worth it. Russell, I am so grateful for you and your wife and all of the things that you're bringing forward to our community. And God, I can't wait for part 2. I really can't. I'm excited. And hopefully I'll see you in about a week personally, because that will be fun.
Sounds good.
Take care.
Goodbye.
You're watching Living and Thriving with Rusty. I'm Rusty, and I get to do this. Oh my God, what a joy he is. And wow. He's got so much to offer, and I can't wait for you guys to just sink your teeth into not only his energy, but also to his philosophy. And I love the fact that he's sharing this information. I love the fact that, you know, it's a little tongue-in-cheek in some ways, and he does it in a lighthearted way, and that's perfect for all of you. Know that you're loved, know that you're beautiful, and if I ever get to see you, I'm gonna hug you too. Don't feel like that's only for a Russell or his wife thing. It's gonna be for everybody that I get to meet. And remember, the largest thing that you can do in this life is to do something kind for somebody else. You literally can take somebody from suicidal thoughts to feeling glorious just by buying them a cup of coffee. It's that simple. Change somebody's life, impact them in a positive way. And hey, until next time.